Today is Thursday, Parashat Shemini. This coming Shabbat we're going to read Parashat Shemini, but this Shabbat is called also Shabbat Para. Why is it called Shabbat Para? Para in Hebrew means a cow or a heifer. Because this Shabbat we're going to take out a second Sefer Torah and we're going to read in the second Sefer Torah about the red heifer, the red cow. A cow that had to be perfectly red, not even 2 hairs black on it, or it has to be a cow that didn't do any work, didn't have any load put on its back. And that para aduma, the ashes of that para aduma, that red heifer, were used to sprinkle together with spring water on somebody that came impure with certain spiritual impurities, ritual impurities. The only way to purify them, that person, would be by sprinkling the ashes of the red heifer. What does that have to do with this coming Shabbat? Well, we're coming closer to Pesach. On Passover, at the time of Bet HaMikdash, they would eat the Paschal lamb, the Korban Pesach. It was a sacrifice. Certain parts of it went on the altar, and the rest of that lamb was eaten by people seated at the Seder night together, partaking from the Paschal lamb. Well, in order to partake from that lamb, you had to be ritually pure. Certain type of ritual impurities, the only way to get pure from them is by sprinkling the ashes of the para aduma. And since we're about 3 weeks away from Pesach, the Shabbat that comes before the Shabbat that we announce the beginning of the month of Nisan, we read about this idea of purifying someone who's ritually impure to get them ready for being able to partake of the Korban Pesach. And that's why we're going to read the Shabbat. Now, even though we don't have Bet HaMikdash, we still have this tradition to read from the Parashat Chukat, this portion, getting ready for the holiday of Pesach. Now, hard to understand. How could the ashes purify someone? And not just that. The person who's sprinkling the ashes gets impure, and the person who has the ashes sprinkled on him gets purified. Sort of like with our human logic, it's difficult to grasp the reasoning behind it. Well, that's why it's called chukah. Chukah in Hebrew means a law that does not have necessarily a logical explanation to it. In our human logic, based on divine logic, there is a reason for it. We don't know it. But even Shlomo HaMelech, who was the wisest of all men, said, "Echkema v'yirechoka mimeni." Even as wise as I am, I'm not able to grasp the reasoning behind this. But the way that it reads, it doesn't say Zot chukata para. This is the chukah of the para. This is the statute of the para. It says this is Zot chukat haTorah. In other words, the whole Torah itself. Of course, we understand many of the laws of the Torah. Many of the laws of the Torah make total sense to us. They have to do with kindness. They have to do with person acting properly and in ways that makes total sense to us. But there will be certain things that don't make sense to us. And it doesn't mean that they're not mitzvot that we should observe and perform. And therefore, the parasha says, Zot chukat Torah, please look at the whole Torah, even those things that you understand, do them because it's commanded by Hashem. Even when there are those mitzvot that we can find explanations for them. Let's say some people said, well, not allowed to eat pork because there are certain type of parasites that live in the meat of the pork, and therefore it's not healthy to eat from the pork. What if you found some antibiotics or some medicine to get rid of those parasites? Would you be able to eat pork? Of course not. When you find the logic behind something, what about if that reason that you gave is no longer applicable? Let's say some people said, well, meat and milk, you cannot eat them together because in digestion they don't work. What if there was a pill with some enzymes that will help you to digest them together? Would you do it? Of course not, because the mitzvah of the Torah is not because of the reason that you're able to understand. It's because the mitzvah is commanded. The understanding of it is great, and It makes sense, that's wonderful. But the parasha says, Chukat HaTorah. The whole Torah, you observe it because Hashem commanded. When you understand things, great. And if you don't understand, you still follow the mitzvot because ultimately it will be very, very good for you because Hashem, who created the world, knows what's good for us. And all mitzvot are actually merits as we follow them. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.